This is my Teachers in Action project. I did a writing workshop and my name is Tabitha Barberich. I did my TIA project at Fairglen Elementary School in Cocoa, Florida in the VESE classroom that had 19 students. Fairglen Elementary has been a school in Cocoa since 1966. Fairglen's vision statement is Fairglen Elementary School's vision is to develop well-rounded, productive, and successful citizens by serving every student with excellence as the standard. Fairglen also offers before and after school care for students and offers free and reduced lunch for many of its students. Fairglen Elementary is a Title I school, and in the 2016 to 2017 school year, they rated a C as a C school. Fairglen's mission statement is we the students, staff, parents, and community of Fairglen Elementary work together as a team to provide a nurturing and safe environment that promotes academic and personal excellence, engages independent thinkers, and inspires young minds to reach full potentials. There is a Title I program that Fairglen utilizes. The program utilizes 3 computer labs. The school also provides intensive small group instruction for students in the grades K through 2, while the computer program provides individual instruction for every student in K through 6. Students have to be referred to the Title I program by their teachers. The Title I program is offered at Fairglen. What I wanted to do was have like a writing seminar center that mimicked what I did in my children's literature writing course over the summer. I had told the teacher about it through email, and she seemed like it would be a good idea, but upon arriving and meeting with her, she decided that it was too hard and intensive for her students. So for about a week and a half to 2 weeks, we met and planned together, and we found a writing package that had different writing prompts, and it showed how students were expected to write them. I also thought this would be a good outlet for students because not many students get a creative outlet in school, so I figured creative writing would be good. And I also know that the students are doing FSA writing tests, and I figured this would be a good practice for them. I wanted the kids to go through the writing process, such as planning, rough drafts, and final drafts. We set up a writing block on Fridays, which is early release days. So it started at 9:20 as soon as the kids got back from activity, and it went until about their lunchtime, which is about 11:30ish. Sometimes we left early or stopped early because the kids were just getting too frustrated and just didn't want to do it anymore. So I worked with them weekly, starting February 20th and ending April 5th. The students I participated with were in the 4th to 6th grade level or grade, but the teacher told me that their intellectual level was kindergarten to 1st grade. They ranged from 9 years old to 13 years old. The majority of the class was Caucasian males, and there was only 8 females, none of which were of another ethnicity. And there was 1 Asian male and 1 African male, and then 1 African American male and 1 Hispanic Latino male. The students that participated have a range of intellectual disabilities. Some are on the spectrum of autism and ADHD and behavior disorders. Again, the project involved 19 students with disabilities, and the class had more boys than girls, which goes along with the text that more boys are diagnosed with learning disabilities than females. The part of the IDEA Act that I found to support this slide is Part D, and the purposes of this chapter are to ensure that all children with disabilities have available to them a free, appropriate public education that emphasizes special education and related services designed to meet their unique needs and prepare them for further education, employment, and independent living. So on this first slide, service in action, they show some. So the teacher told me to draw out a plan that the students would be able to look at while writing. We came up with the sandwich model. It's usually more intensive. Usually they have a 5-paragraph essay with 3 to 5 sentences per paragraph. But we broke it down to a 3-paragraph essay with 3 sentences per paragraph, and students are expected to include capitalization and follow grammar rules. Included on the middle and the bottom right are a rough draft sketch of a student who I'm going to call M. His card said, sketch your idea of the perfect grandma and grandpa, then write about the things you want to do with them. So for the writing prompts, each student got to choose from 2 different writing prompts, and they got to choose the one they wanted to write about. So M chose about spending time with his grandma and grandpa. You can see this is his rough draft sketch. He's just drawing different things he would want to do with his grandma and grandpa. On the next slide, it shows his rough draft. Here on the left is M's rough draft. You can see where he lays out his paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and his details. And then on the right was his final draft, where you can see how he improved from the very beginning to the end, and how his paragraphs and details are together with minimal spacing, and he also had minimal grammar errors. Here are just 3 different students' rough drafts. D's rough draft, he was very uncooperative through this whole project. He had a lot of outbursts. He left the room quite a few times. So this list was all the things he could do because he just was not cooperating. His card says, make a list of the things you would do if there were no rules and choose to write one about it. J's rough draft, hers is make a list of the things that scare you, then choose more one to write about. And you can see the list of things that she chose, and then she started to write about it. So she chose clowns. And then L's, he was also very uncooperative. I first arrived, and he wouldn't pick a card, and he started crying and throwing a fit, and he just did not want to do it. And it took several weeks for him to finally even do this little bit. And his was, make a list of all the ways your life would be different if your mom had a baby, then circle 1 and write more about it. Here on this page, I chose this student to feature in my presentation because he was allowed to use his laptop to write instead of writing it out on paper. So his was, make a top 10 list of your favorite candy, then choose one to write more about. So on the left, you can see his list of candies, and then a short description or short start to his paper. And then on the right, you can see his final draft and what candy he likes. When I first saw this project in my assignment tab, I was very overwhelmed by it because I thought it was going to be hard and difficult to do. I did not want to do this project because I thought it was going to be hard to find some place to go work in and find something to do. But once I figured out that I could do like a writing workshop, and I reached out on some different Facebook communities to figure out like where I could go, I found my placement. And I have worked with students with disabilities before at Cambridge Elementary through different volunteering, and so I had previous experience with students with disabilities, and so that aspect didn't bother me. But I also felt like I didn't know what I was getting into, and so I was unsure of how severe these students' disabilities were, or if there were very violent children in there. After completing this project, I have found that working with students with disabilities can be more tiring and challenging than working with students without disabilities. And I figured that you have to really want to work with children with disabilities to be in that field. One thing that I kept hearing from all the students that impacted me the most is, why are we doing this? This is so boring. This is so hard. I don't like this, when I was having them write and brainstorm. So I think that impacted me most because I thought the kids would enjoy it, but none of them really did. The course I'm taking is EEX4070, Teaching Exceptional Students. 3 topics that I understand better are matching the curriculum to my students' needs, the hidden curriculum, and different types of disabilities. So matching the curriculum to my student needs, I had went in there with a very elaborate writing workshop plan, and once I talked to the teacher, I realized that my plan was way too challenging for these students, so I knew we had to work together to not lower my expectations, but lower them some, so that way the students could meet my goals that I wanted them to meet. The hidden curriculum was discussed by my Dr. Dan in my EEX course, and one of the things I had learned there, one of the students had started her period, and she didn't really know about it or like what to do, so that was like a teachable moment and something that students with disabilities in general have to learn how to live with, or puberty and growing up. I've also learned about different types of disabilities. Some of the people I had worked with had behavioral issues, were on the autism spectrum, and most of them in the classroom had intellectual disabilities on different ranges. I feel like these experiences can inform me in my professional work as a teacher, because it'll allow me to have already background experience and knowledge about students with disabilities. This whole project I have found to be insightful because I find civic engagement and volunteering in our community to be important, because I find that through volunteering we can make our community better and even make our schools better. I think that including people with disability in our volunteering can also help them and help them learn life skills, like maybe budgeting or planning events, or just manners. Thank you, please. I think as teachers we can engage our even teachers, parents, staff, and other communities to embrace service learning, because I think it can make other people in our community happy and to show that we care. To work towards a great understanding, empathy, and opportunities for people with disabilities in our community, I feel like we can volunteer and work with people with disabilities and engage in meaningful conversation, and even help like organize fundraisers or events for different things the schools might need to help with students with disabilities. Teachers can help students, parents, and other community members about such talk to different food banks or organizations that help with food. I know one of these schools I have worked with has a food pantry every other Friday, and it also has resources to help the parents. We also have a local organization called the Children's Hunger Project, which helps students of low-income families with food on the weekends. And I also think teachers are a big part of the greater good of society, but I also feel it takes the help of parents to help the greater good in society and to help us raise the children to be the next level of parents and greater society members. All in all, this project was very insightful, and I found it to be challenging as well as rewarding. I really liked it when some of the students realized they were getting the paragraph format down and they were understanding their topic. In the future, I do wish to be more involved in the community, especially working with persons with disabilities, and I thank this project for helping me become a better community member.